Well, hey fam, good evening, great evening, good day, good evening, whatever time it is where you are. I want to say hello to you. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. I want to say good day to you. It's a beautiful day, and we're going to have a brilliant conversation tonight that I'm excited about. I want you to, if you would, not mind, grab a notebook, grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, grab something to write with. You're going to want to take some copious notes tonight. I'm going to share some information with you that is going to be especially beneficial to men who want to go to another level emotionally and simply don't know how. We're going to talk about some things tonight that I believe are going to actually impact your life. And so we're going to have some fun tonight. Before we dive in, again, I've stated it before, but I want you, if you wouldn't mind, to grab something to write with. Grab a notebook, grab a pen, grab a piece of paper. We're going to deal with this topic of affection, and it's a heavy topic. You see me looking up because I'm trying to get my notes together. It's one of those topics and one of those things that, we don't talk about it enough. We should talk about it more. And the reality is that many of us men struggle with affection and we don't know how to deal. We don't know how to be affectionate. We don't know how to show up in a way that we feel safe, we feel secure. And so we're going to talk about it tonight, dealing with 5 reasons why men struggle with affection, 5 reasons why men struggle with affection. If you are here and don't mind, please type in the chats where you are viewing this from. Tell me where you're located. I am in Southern California, in the Long Beach area. And the weather's been a little overcast here, so it doesn't feel much like SoCal, but I am in Southern California nonetheless. So tell me where you are viewing this from. I would love to hear from you. Also, do me a favor if you would, grab a notebook, grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, grab something to write with. You're going to want to take some notes tonight, as I'm going to share with you a few things that you need to know about men and why we struggle with affection. Let me introduce myself, ladies and gents. My name is David A. Burris. I am a life and relationship strategist. I've been married 20 years. Sugarland, I see you. Inglewood is in the building. I see you. Come on, neighbor. I see you, Inglewood. I see you, Sugarland, Texas. Good to see y'all. Good to have you here tonight. Ladies and gents, I am really excited to be joining you tonight. I'm very passionate about helping men understand women, helping women understand men, and helping all of us get on the same page together. And so everything that I do, I really try to lean into just helping us grow. Here's why I'm really leaning heavily toward helping men in this phase or season of my life. I believe that healthy men lead to a healthy household. I believe that a healthy household leads to a healthy community. I think a healthy community leads to a healthy world. And so we as men have to become healthy if we're going to have a healthy world. It really hinges on how healthy men are. And so tonight, we will be sharing some things, and I'm going to be inviting you to, at the end of this, a free webinar that I'm hosting on May 24th. It is going to transform your thinking. We're going to go a little bit deeper about this affection piece. So stick around to the end. All right, let's dive in. I want to share with you 5 reasons why many men struggle with affection. 5 reasons why many men struggle with affection. Now, it is critical for you to hear this. It's important for you to note that in a household, nothing moves if the man's not moving. Nothing moves if the man's not moving. I also want to share with the men who are watching this that the degree of security you create for your woman is very much hinged on your ability to show some affection. I'll say that again. The degree of security you will create for your woman is very much hinged on your ability to show affection. And many of us men run from affection. We hide from affection. We don't like affection, but it's something that we can't run from if we're going to have a healthy and balanced relationship. All right, so let's dive into it. I'm going to share with you 5 reasons why men run from affection. Again, if you're just joining me, my name is David Burris. I'm a life and relationship coach, and we're going to have some fun today. Here's reason number 1. If you haven't written this down, please write this down. By the way, I would ask you to make sure you are subscribed to this channel. Make sure you are locked in. Make sure your notification bell is being alerted, because I don't want you to miss anything that's coming from the channel. I'll be uploading and sharing a lot of information in the near future. Here's the first reason why, and these are not in any particular order. It's important for you to hear why men struggle with affection. Reason number 1 is they were never shown how to be affectionate. Many of us men were not shown how to be affectionate. Fellas, I want you to lean in here. A great deal of why we struggle with affection is because many of us, have not seen affection lived out in a healthy way, in a balanced way, in a fruitful way, and so we run from it, right? Many of us grew up in homes where affection simply wasn't modeled. It just wasn't modeled. So expressing it now feels foreign and uncomfortable. I've been married 22 years to my wife, Tanisha. She's the mother of my only 2 children. I have a goddaughter named Jacqueline, my 2 sons, Zion and Micah. We have a dog named Charlie. When Tanisha and I got married 22 years ago, I was really struggling with affection. And I thought I had it down because I came from a very affectionate household, very affectionate home. But here's the reality. I struggled with affection. And so when she would want me to make eye contact with her, I want you to hold my hand and embrace me and hold me for more than 2 seconds and kiss me for more than a peck, I really struggled with those things because I hadn't seen that modeled, hadn't seen it walked out, hadn't seen it displayed in a healthy way. And so as a man, I really struggled with what it looks like, what it feels like to be affectionate. And because I struggle with it, it made me nervous. There's some men who are watching me right now who, sir, you are struggling with affection because you haven't seen it displayed. You haven't seen a man be affectionate with a woman in a way that is healthy and balanced. And so as a result, it makes us nervous. It makes us afraid. It makes us weary. Ladies, how many times have you been in relationship with a man who all you wanted was just some affection? You just wanted him to love on you a little bit, show you a little bit of affection, show you a little bit of attention, and he struggled to do that. It's primarily because many of us, number 1, we weren't shown how to do it. We've never seen it before. Now, what's even worse is not just that we weren't taught how to do it, but we haven't seen it. Many of us have literally not seen affection lived out, displayed in real time. And so not only were we not taught, we just haven't seen it. Fellas, I want you to hear this. Those of you who are listening, that is no longer an excuse. It's not an excuse. The woman you are with, the woman you will be with, she thrives in environments where affection flows freely. I'll say this too. It's important to hear this, that you cannot create security in her heart if you're running from affection. Here's why. Because affection is directly linked to emotion. Emotion is directly linked to her heart. She lives in a place of emotion all day long. She lives in a place of emotion. And so when we as men do not learn how to tap into our emotions, when we as men run from affection, we struggle to create security in the lives of the women we love. We struggle to create security. And so I need you fellas to hear this, man. It is critical. It's important for you and I to really learn how to become affectionate so that we can create deeper levels of security in the relationships that we are in. Number 1, we struggle with affection because we were not shown how to do it. We weren't shown how to do it. Number 2, I want you to write it down. We often as men struggle with affection because we equate affection to weakness. Woo. Would you hear that? We struggle with affection because we as men equate affection to weakness. Society has often taught us as boys to toughen up, to man up, to be strong. Don't be weak. Don't show any signs of weakness. But what I submit to you, man, is, oh, this is going to sound crazy. I just want you to lean in here. The weakest man in the world is the one that fears his own emotions. Shucks. I know that sounds crazy. The weakest man in the world is the one that fears his own emotions. The man who fears his emotions is weak. Let me explain to you why. If there's an aspect of you as a man that you hide from, that you run from, that you fear, if there's an aspect of you as a man that you've tucked away, that you never confront, you are only half a man. You know, every man has a lion and a lamb in him. Every man has a king and a kid in him. And there's so many of us who run from the lamb. We spend all of our time as lion and wonder why she keeps complaining. Here's why she's complaining. It's because while she appreciates the lion in you, sir, while she values the lion in you, it's the lamb in you that she relates to most. She appreciates that the lion goes out and kills and hunts down, and he brings home that which we're going to cook and that which we're going to feed on. She appreciates that the lion provides and protects. But what she relates to, where she has most commonality, is with the lamb in you. And it is a dangerous thing for you and I to be all lion and no lamb. We have been taught as men that to be soft, to be tender, to be gentle is to be weak. And no man wants to be viewed as weak. But again, I submit to you, if there's a version of you, a side of you that you are perpetually running from because you're afraid of it, your emotions, that makes you a weaker man than the one who cries. Oh, man. Let me say that again. Whenever you and I, as men, run from our feelings, run from our emotions, run from the things that make us human, whenever we run from those things, it makes us more weak than the man who cries. I need you to hear that, man. And so for you and I, what I want us men to do is to really get into the habit of tapping into our emotions. But we don't do that because we equate affection with weakness. I want you to type it in the chat. Affection isn't weakness. Just somebody type that in the chat for me. Affection is not weakness. By the way, do me a favor, if you haven't already, share this with somebody who you think needs it. If you wouldn't mind, just share this with a man who you think could use some information and some insight and even some wisdom about affection. Do me that favor, if you wouldn't mind. Just share this with a man who you think needs it. We're talking about affection and why men fear affection. I've shared 2 of the 5 reasons with you. Here's reason number 1. We haven't been taught. Reason number 2, why men often fear affection is because we equate affection as weakness. We equate affection as weakness. I'm going to pause just for a second, speak to my brothers, and ask you this question. Man, who told you you had to be strong? Who told you you had to have it all together? Who told you that you couldn't show weakness? Who told you that? And how's that working for you? One of the things I've discovered as a man, and one of the things that's really brought me some freedom and some liberality as a man, is discovering that it's okay for me to be weak. In fact, scripture says it this way: let the weak say, I am strong. Another scripture says this, that when I am weak, I am strong. Another version says this, that God's strength is perfected in our weakness. So what I want you to hear as a man is this, that your strength is perfected when you can acknowledge that you're weak. When you can acknowledge that you're weak. We're talking about 5 reasons why men often struggle with affection. Reason number 1 is we haven't been taught. Reason number 2 is that we often equate affection with weakness. Here's reason number 3. At times, we don't know how to express affection. Even if the desire is there, the language of affection, whether physical, whether verbal, whether emotional, it may not come naturally. There are so many of us men who struggle with affection because we don't have language for it. How many of you struggle with affection because you simply don't have language for it? You wish you knew how to express it. You wish you had language for how you feel, but at times you don't have language for it. And so you struggle with affection. There are a lot of men who don't have language. And to the ladies who are watching this, I want you to hear this. There are times when you are assuming we don't feel just because we're not crying, or you're assuming we don't feel because we're not affectionate. But what I want you to hear is that there are times when we simply do not have language for how we feel. Here's the truth, ladies, to those of you who are listening, there are times when you don't have language for how you feel. This is why many of you ladies process out loud, because you're trying to find what you feel and you're trying to land on it. Many of us men struggle because we don't have language for what we feel. And when you don't have language for what you feel, you really opt to, or you lean towards silence. I need you to hear it. There are many of us men who desire affection. We just don't know how to express it. We don't have language for it. By the way, I want you to stick around to the end. I just have a couple more to show you. Then I want to invite you to a much deeper conversation. I'm hosting a webinar at the end of this month that I want you in on, and I'll tell you more about it in a moment. 5 reasons why men struggle with affection. Number 1 is we haven't been shown how to be affectionate. Number 2, we equate affection to weakness. Number 3, third reason why we often struggle with affection is because we at times do not have language for how we feel. You know what? I want the guys to hear this. Here's a cheat code for you. One of the ways that I learned to gain language for how I feel is by listening to my wife. We don't want to hear that. One of the ways I learned even to understand my feelings is by listening to my wife and hearing her express her feelings. Right? There have been times when we've been talking and she says something. I said to myself, yeah, I feel like that too. Right? That's because she's now giving me language for my emotions. Fellas, you have to really lean in and trust your wife or your partner to give you language for how you feel sometimes, because sometimes you're not going to know what you feel. You're not going to have language for it, and she will. Again, I've learned a great deal about who I am, about what I feel, about how I should feel, about how I should express my feelings by listening to my wife. Here's another cheat code for the fellas. This was a little off topic, but I want to share this with you too. I let her complaints tutor me on the man that she needs me to be. Instead of hearing her complaints as nagging, I listened to her complaints and translated them as information. And so the things she was complaining about was the things that I used as leverage to help me level up as a man. I need you to hear that, man. She's telling you what she needs. And if you and I would stop shutting the women down in our lives and start listening and kind of leaning into what they're saying, we would learn a lot, right? We learn a lot. All right. Let me give you number 4. They fear rejection. Number 4, fourth reason why men struggle with affection is because we often fear rejection. Simply put, we fear rejection. We fear that we are going to be rejected for how we feel, for how we show up, for what we are expressing, for what we are emoting. We fear rejection. For some men, expressing affection feels risky. It really does. And it confirms a belief that emotional openness is unsafe. For some men, expressing emotions is risky, and it confirms the notion or the idea or the belief system that emotional openness is unsafe. This is important for ladies to hear. In many cases, you determine who shows up in your relationship. If you shut him down, if you demean him, if you belittle him when he's trying to be affectionate, when he's trying to show and express his emotions, what you're going to do is shut him down permanently. I want you to hear this. Write this down if you're taking notes. For a man, and I've said this a million times before, but I'll say it again if you haven't heard it. For a man, what gets rewarded gets repeated. What you reward is what he will repeat. And ladies, you don't take enough stock in your ability to to transform a man's mind and even his actions by your words. You don't understand how important your words are to a man. When that man was an infant taking his first steps, it was his mother that clapped the loudest for him. When that man took the training wheels off of his bike as a little boy, and he started riding his bike without training wheels, it was his mother that clapped loudest for him. It's a trip. When that kid got his first touchdown in Pop Warner, it was his mother in the stands that made the most noise for him. When he graduated high school, mother made the most noise. When he graduated college, it was his mother that made the most noise for him. When he got his first job, it was his mother that clapped the loudest for him. When he bought his first house, it was mom that celebrated him the most. And then she turned him over to you. And he's so accustomed to the woman he loves the most and trusts the most, leaning in and celebrating him, that when it doesn't happen, at times he feels like something is wrong because he's used to it. And you haven't heard this before. Men need you to celebrate them. Men need you to validate them. And when you celebrate him, hey, Ray, good to see you, man. When you celebrate him, what it does is it informs him that this is a safe place for me to open up. Because I told you before, what gets rewarded gets repeated. What gets rewarded gets repeated. What gets rewarded in a man's heart gets repeated. And so at times we have been made to feel rejected because we're trying to express emotions, trying to express our feelings, trying to be affectionate, right? He tried to lean in for a kiss and you told him, go put some on your lips, right? He tried to hold your hand and you said, your hand a little too rough for me, right? Now, I know that's not everybody, but that's somebody, right? And so when you do that to a man, what you cause him to do is shut down. But when you celebrate him, that's why when a man is making love to his woman, the more noise she makes, the harder he works, the harder he sweats, because her mouth informs his efforts. Write that down. A woman's mouth informs her man's efforts. What she says informs what he does. And so it's critical for you to hear that, man, whatever comes out of your mouth will inform whether or not he does that, tries that, attempts that again. One of the reasons why we shut down, number 4, and one of the reasons why we're not affectionate is because we have dealt with rejection in the past. And if we have not dealt with rejection, we have heard stories of men who have dealt with rejection. Guys, I need you to hear this, man. You got to trust your woman, right? So we just spoke to the women, but I want to speak to the fellas now. You have to learn how to trust her with your emotions. You have to learn how to trust her with your feelings. You have to learn how to trust her with your affection. And here's the thing, you have to learn how to let her teach you how to love her. Ooh, that's crazy. That's crazy. What? Yeah, you have to learn how to let her teach you how to love her. My wife had to teach me how to love her. I didn't know how to love her. Again, I came from a single parent home where a woman raised me. I never saw a man really show up for a woman in a way that was healthy, that was balanced, that was Christ-like. And so I had to learn all of this stuff by myself. And a great deal of what I've learned came from my wife teaching me how to love her. So fellas, we have to take the risk. Love is risky. It is absolutely risky. So I'm sharing with you 5 reasons why men struggle to show affection. Reason number 1 is they were never shown how to be affectionate. Reason number 2 is we equate affection with weakness in many cases. Reason number 3 why men often struggle with affection is they don't know how to express it. At times we don't have language for what we feel. Reason number 4 is we fear rejection. We fear rejection. And here's reason number 5, and this I think is in many cases the most important, right? I should have probably put this as number 1, but I left it for last because I kind of want to dive in a little bit deeper and unpack it. Reason number 5 why men often struggle with affection is because we carry unresolved wounds. unresolved wounds. There are a lot of us men who carry unresolved wounds, unhealed trauma, past betrayal, emotional neglect. All of these things can impede on our ability to love well, to be loved well, to express love the way we need to. I want to ask you a question to the men who are watching this. And let's be honest, man, I'm being honest with myself as well. How many of us are dealing with unresolved wounds? How many of us are dealing with unhealed trauma? Here's another question. How many of us are allowing unresolved wounds, unhealed trauma to impede on how we show up in our relationships? You know, thinking that affection is soft and for simps and is for sissies is a sign of unhealed trauma, right? Thinking that you're weak because you cry or because you're expressive emotionally, that's a sign of unhealed trauma. Fellas, there are a lot of us who are dealing with unhealed trauma. There's some men who are watching right now who you don't want to get married because you're dealing with unhealed trauma and you're afraid of the depth is going to be required of you to love that woman the way she needs to be loved. And I want to challenge you as I challenge myself, man, let's deal with the trauma. Let's deal with it. Let me give you those 5 again. I got 2 minutes. We'll get out of here in 2 minutes. I'm gonna try to at least. 5 reasons why men struggle with affection. I hope you wrote these down. Reason number 1 is that we have never been shown how to be affectionate. We just simply haven't been shown how to be affectionate. Reason number 2 is we equate affection with weakness. We equate it with weakness. Reason number 3 is we don't know how to express affection. And so because we don't have language for it, we remain silent. Reason number 4 is that we fear rejection. So we don't try it because we fear that we're going to be rejected in trying to be affectionate. And then reason number 5 is we have a ton of unhealed trauma that we need to deal with. And man, if we don't deal with this trauma, we're going to be in trouble. We're going to be in trouble. I want to invite you to something that I'm hosting on May 24th at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. It's called the Heartfelt Webinar. It's going to be a game changer. I'm going to spend just a few moments, about an hour and a half, unpacking, actually going a little more in depth about men and affection. And then all of June, I'm going to be teaching on affection. But I want to introduce it through this webinar. So if you are not doing anything on May 24th, I want you to join me for the Heartfelt Webinar. It's going to be a game changer. You can register at www.thedavidburrisacademy.com/heartfelt. Heartfelt web, actually. www.thedavidburrisacademy.com/heartfelt web. www.thedavidburrisacademy.com/heartfelt web. Totally free webinar. You can scan the QR code on your screen. The webinar is totally free. It costs you nothing to attend. There's going to be a ton of value added to your life. And I want you in the room. I'll also post the link in the caption of this video. So if you want to go back and watch the replay, that link will be there again. It's totally free of charge to register. I really want men in the room. Guys, I want you to be in the room because I want you really tapping in emotionally. Ladies, I want you in the room as well because I want you to understand how to express your need for affection to a man without him losing his mind and without your words being lost in translation. All right. Hope that was helpful. Guys, I really pray that this conversation was helpful. I look forward to seeing you on the 24th. Please share this with somebody. Again, if you have not already, please hit the notification bell as well. You will subscribe to the channel because there's a ton of rich information that's going to be coming from this channel that you're going to need. By the way, go watch the replay of this and just browse my channel. There's a ton of information there that I think is going to benefit you. All right. Until the 24th, or until the next time we meet, y'all take care. Remember, you have permission to think differently.